Greetings, this is the Mysterious Mystery, and this is my review of Logan. Well, I'm going to break this down into parts. The first part is going to be themes, character interactions, Easter eggs, some plot holes, yeah, that's about it. Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room, political themes. Now, I think some guy from InfoWars or something like that. You know what? I'm going to put a quick disclaimer. If you are a Donald Trump supporter, this is by no means an attack or a criticism in any way. I'm just pointing out that this reporter was wrong and should have done more proper research. Now, I can't remember his name, but I know he works for InfoWars. And the villains, one of the main villains, Donald Pierce, he's shown as, well, he has the same first name as Donald Trump. So he came up with this, I want to say theory, because I feel if he did his research, he wouldn't have come to the same conclusion. Anyway, so he had this theory that because all the kids were, I guess, technically born in Mexico and they were crossing the border, it was supposed to represent the illegal immigration situation going on in the U.S. currently, but they weren't really trying to stay in the U.S., they were trying to get to Canada. And also, these are established characters. Like, Donald Pierce has been in the comics for, 40 years, I believe? So yeah, I feel like the guy really kind of leaped to some conclusions there. Anyway, now into the main themes. The main theme, and I guess also for political, near the beginning, since this takes place really on a town really close to the border. I can't remember the name of the town. It was Juarez? Anyway, some town in Texas. Anyway, there were some, maybe some drunk college students or seniors in high school. Pretty young looking guys. Anyway, they were chanting USA near the border and all that. So I was like, maybe, I'm not sure. That just sounds like teenage shenanigans to me. Not really racially motivated or something, but I don't know. That's just me. You feel free to disagree with me. Now, the main theme here in the movie is family. So Wolverine is, he's the adamantium and is having his toll on him, and he's taking care of Professor X, and he's old, and throughout most of his life, he's pretty much just kept everyone at bay. The only real people he's let in are the X-Men, and they're all dead. So he's not doing good. He's in a bad place, mentally. He's in a bad headspace, as I like to say. Not really sure if that's a common saying or not. Anyway, so he's not in a good place, and he's really just not really letting anyone in, even his closest friend, Professor X. He's kind of keeping him at arm's length, even though he's taking care of him in his final years. But also they meet this family. It was called in the middle, well, not in the middle, somewhere in the middle of the movie. And they're it's called interacting with another family, and feels really natural. That was a very powerful moment. It was really good, and I was like, you know what, this is a nice moment in the film. They said they cut a scene if they asked if she had with X-23's character, I'm gonna butcher this name, David Keene, had a mother, but then they were gonna insert a Jean Grey thing, but then they said it didn't really work, so they kind of dropped it altogether, which works out fine also. But like the main family interactions come with Logan and X-23 or Laura. Anyway, so in the movie, throughout most of the movie, he is, I guess, kind of, I wouldn't say scared as in terrified, but scared as in worried. Like, let someone in and like he's just not really willing to take another chance or anything. So he keeps her at arm's length and like kind of shoots her down every chance he gets throughout most of the movie. So it's not until the end until they like really kind of have a bonding moment, but it's like they have a few bonding moments here and there, but they're far and few in between. Then at the end, it's like, this is a really sweet moment. Like when she called Logan Wolverine Daddy, I like had to hold back tears in the theater, but like it's a bit too late now. Well, at that point, it was a bit too late. Anyway, so oh yeah, and my friend told me this, that back to that scene with the family members, like that black family of farmers, like how they Logan said Professor X was his dad and Laura's daughter. Like when you think about it, even though Wolverine is way older than Charles, he is kind of like a father figure. He like took him in, took care of him when he was like in a dark place, because they're apparently taking an origin of when he was, I want to say the second X-Men movie, where he was in a what's called in a cage fighting match thing. One of those at least. Anyway, character interactions. Now back to Daphne. No, that's not it. Daphne Keene, the character who played Laura / X-23. I know I am butchering that name, and I am sorry. But anyway, I want to just compliment her on her acting, even though she's very young. Like, and she throughout most of the movie, she's silent. She does like play a very believable role, and when she like talks like halfway through the movie, and like Logan gets like super pissed at her, which I thought was funny. But like, yeah, so that was a very funny moment in the film. Hugh Jackman, he played Wolverine once again amazingly, and he even played X-24, which was more of a wild killing machine deal. He played that really well as well. But again, I guess he didn't have to do as much for that because, no real words. Anyway, and Patrick Stewart as Professor X. He played Professor X really well. Like an old and battered Professor X really well. I thought was cool. And like, I really enjoyed his performance as well. I was even like sad when he died. And the person who played Donald Pierce, who is the leader of the Reavers, the main villains in the movie, Boyd Holbrook. I feel like I'm just butchering these names each time I try to pronounce them. Yeah. Oh yeah, and gonna swing back to family themes just for a second. Calabad, Professor X and Wolverine, when they're like living in the desert in that kind of broken down factory place or whatever. One of the things that I find interesting about Calabad is like, he said, I can smell something off with you. Like he was like kind of like the live-in nurse. And although like you could tell like he was like part of the group, but like not part of the group as well. Like when Donald Pierce like came back with all his reavers to the compound, to their compound, like in that old factory. Like the first thing he asked was, "Where's Calipad?" like 3 times before he told him before he told him he like died. Which I was like, huh. So like they do care, even though, well, like Logan does care about Calipad, even though he doesn't show it. Anyway, back to character interactions, and Elizabeth Rodriguez, she played a more minor role as the nurse who helped Laura escape. I found her, even though her performance was short, I really liked it. Anyway, so 2 Easter eggs. Let's see. First things first, Logan's Easter eggs, the ones I can remember. I saw he had his Japanese sword from one timeline or another. It's really hard to keep track of these ones. Professor X, he has like hair in this movie, and they explain that like since he's no longer using his powers as much, since he's having the seizures, which I will go into that in a second. It's less stress on his brain, so his hair can grow back properly now, which was interesting. And speaking of Professor X's seizures, like I've always been curious, like what if one mutant had telepathic powers and like powerful telepathic powers and like and did have a seizure. So I guess I know what it looks like now. Now I'm curious, and excuse my language, my upcoming language, but like, what if a telepath is mentally retarded? How would that manifest? Or has a panic attack or something. Not like a full-on seizure, but like just a panic attack. But yeah. And speaking of Easter eggs, like her Professor X, the Winchester argument. I mean, not argument, incident. Sorry. The Winchester incident. I had a feeling it was the X Mansion, but like I was nervous to say it in front of my friend because I felt like I might be wrong, but I was right. Anyway, so apparently according to I can't remember where I heard this from. I did some research before this, but I don't have it in front of me right now. Anyway, out of 8 X-Men, 7 were there. Wolverine and 6 others, I want to say. So yeah, and 6 others. One was apparently away on, I don't know, maybe they left. Maybe they had something else to do somewhere else. I don't know. Anyway, when Professor X had a seizure, it killed all the X-Men and students who were young mutants. Sorry, complete mind fart there. Also, like, to deal with, what's it called? The X-Men and their students, like, sometimes the students are considered X-Men, but sometimes they're not. So I always found that weird. Other than that, like, Laura's little group of experiment runaways, one of them was called Richter. Now, he's a character from X-Force, which they just ripped straight from it, which I thought was interesting. And like, I'm really curious on who was the lady he was communicating with. Something is Jubilee, which would be interesting, and they could do a Generation X thing later down the line. Or maybe a member of Alpha Flight, since they do exist in that universe. I'm not sure. And for Wolverine, like, it was like my last little tidbit of it. Like, something I found very interesting was like, even with his adamantium, he was like slowing it down. Like he was still drinking and smoking and everything. So that did not help in any way. And I'm guessing like the villain Xander Rice, he said he did something to pacify the X gene so he can make his own mutants. What was it? So I'm guessing like since it's in the food and water, Wolverine must have consumed at some point, which may have weakened his healing factor, which made the adamantium poison more effective in making his body age, slowing it down further, along with the drinking and smoking, which never a good idea, no matter what, healing factor or not. Oh yes, and I almost forgot this. The corporation that made X-23 and the other children, Alkali Transizen. Transizen is what's it called? Mr. Sinister is part of the Ethics Corporation, like an offshoot of it, and Alkalide is Alkalide Lake, where the original Weapon X program was held. So I thought that was interesting. And as far as the mutants the kids were based off of, one with ice powers, I'm guessing Iceman. One with electrical powers, maybe Surge. One with grass powers, I'm guessing Druid? That sounds like a solid guess. Not sure which one the telepath is. There's so many telepaths, you can never just pinpoint one. One with fire powers, probably Hotspot, and yeah. And let's see, as far as other mutants go, I'm not really sure, and like, for any more Easter eggs, I'm not sure which ones were left. So, for plot holes, I have two. One, the adamantium bullet, which is kind of teased throughout the film. And like at the end, X-23 uses it to shoot X-24, killing him. The thing is, Wolverine got shot with that twice in the head, full on healing factor, and it just erases memory and stuff. So, I'm thinking X-24 is still alive somewhere in South Dakota and is super feral and everything. I'm guessing like the trenches and people have something to like help recollect that, but for now he's kind of just wandering in the wilderness. Oh yeah, and another Easter egg, forgot this. Laura, after she and the other mutant children bury Logan, she removes the cross and puts it to the side. Now, I didn't really understand this for a moment until like I thought about it, because Wolverine, like, cross is usually meant to represent something higher than the individual, like a belief in God, and Wolverine's not exactly a Christian believer, but the only thing he has really put his faith into is Professor X's dream, the X-Men, and he's helped fight for it and everything. So yeah. Alright, back to plot holes. Another one is when the Reavers were chasing down the mutant children in South Dakota. Or North Dakota, I mean. Wait, is that right? Oh crap, I can't remember the state the last thing takes. Near the Canadian border. Anyway, it makes me think, like, they only wanted X-23 alive because she's like regenerative factor and they had to like dispose of her in a certain way. But the rest of them, why didn't they just use their automatic weapons and take them down? Maybe that one telepathic girl could have stopped the bullets, but it maybe Richter. But like the rest of them, pretty sure they weren't bulletproof. They did say they were going to start shooting them, so I guess they wouldn't have had trouble doing that. Not sure why they didn't. Anyway. And, oh yeah, one last Easter egg. Keep forgetting these. The movie Shane. It's about a cowboy who, old gunslinger who's put up his guns, who's put down his guns and is retired and everything, to like some guy who's trying to force people out of their town so he can sell the land and make profit and everything. And I'm not too familiar with the movie, but it plays during the movie in the hotel scene. So, what is it? What am I trying to say? Alright. So, like, it's kind of parallels what Logan is doing. A man picking up his guns one last time, or I guess in Wolverine's case, popping his claws. And, like, he's even teaching a young, in Shane, it was like him teaching this young boy, it doesn't matter if you shoot someone for the right reasons or wrong reasons, you're gonna have to live with that for the rest of your life. And like Logan, like one of the moments they have together is like, after Logan has a nightmare, Laura says, I've hurt people too, but they were bad people. He's like, it doesn't matter, good or bad, you're gonna have to live with that one way or another. Or pretty much something along those lines. Which really actually help make their last moments together more believable. And speaking of their last moments, I know this kind of is a family themed deal, but like Logan repeats what kind of like when he's like dying there with Laura, like with him, like he like a light bulb flashes in his head for the last time. It's like, so this is how it feels like to be a part of a family. Because I guess now that you think of it, like outside the X-Men, his only family technically was Sabretooth, and like before that was like his family in like 200 years ago in Canada, before like he fought in pretty much every war and everything. So yeah. So that's my review of Logan. Ooh, excuse me. I give it an 8 out of 10. I would give it a perfect score, but those plot holes, I don't know. You know what? Forget it. 9 out of 10. That plot hole I'm not forgiving, but with Johnny Cash's score at the end of the movie, just perfect. So yeah, there's probably going to be like a young X-Men or X-Force or something along those lines type of movie coming out later with all the new characters they just established. Or, this could just be in its own little timeline and none of it counts for anything. Who knows with Fox? Or, I guess, the X-Men movies, since it is very convoluted over there. I'm not even 100% sure they know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, after a certain point I would just say, maybe we should just restart. But, I don't know. Anyway, that's all for this one. Have a good one. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll probably post another video soon.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain